Who is Reckful? To some, he's a Twitch veteran, one of the original best streamers and a staple of his community. To many popular streamers, he's a friend, a respected peer. Reckful is so many things to so many people. The impact that he's had on his community, the people who watch him, and the people in his life is profound. But not everyone knows who Reckful is, so if you don't, then let me make this one thing clear. This is not just the history of a Twitch streamer. This is the life of Byron Bernstein.
Wow. Number 15.
Our story begins on May 8th, 1989, when Itamar and Judith Bernstein have their third son, Byron, the youngest after his two older brothers, Guy and Gary. When Byron was 2 years old, the family moved from Israel to America. His brothers, more than 8 years older than him, grew up in Tel Aviv, but Byron would spend his formative childhood years—
The stream volume isn't low, turn your speakers up.
—in California. His family had a great deal of influence on the kind of person that he would grow up to be. His father was a lawyer, a writer, and spoke multiple languages. His influence taught Byron to value intellectualism and ambition, and his brothers introduced him to a world of video games and technology that would change his life in ways that none of them could imagine. When Byron was only 4, his older brother Guy let him play the game Doom, hacking the final level so that he could actually beat it. They also introduced him to the Super Nintendo, where he would play one of his favorite games of all time, Secret of Mana. But it wouldn't be until 1999 that Byron would get his first taste of the massive multiplayer online genre, the very same genre that would one day come to define his career. See, his middle brother Gary had this idea of taking the Pokemon IP and turning it into an MMO, and in order to do that, he would need some experience with playing one. The clerk at the store strongly recommended that they went with the game Asheron's Call, so they did. And with that simple, impromptu decision, Byron's life was put on a path that would one day lead to him becoming Reckful. He made an account under the name Antiparazzi, a play on words in Hebrew, and with his terrible dial-up internet, he was off on his first massive multiplayer online adventure. Asheron's Call was an MMO that focused a lot on combat, which of course meant fighting other players. See, in this game, you could identify yourself as a player killer, or a PK. And if you were a PK, then you were free to attack any other player that was also a PK. And as such, they were free to attack you. And Byron Bernstein, well, he just happened to be a PK. Over time, Byron would become the best player in the game by far, and he was known for his ability to defeat pretty much anyone that he encountered. To this very day, an Urban Dictionary entry exists under the name Antiparazzi that shows this message. The very same message that you would see after losing to Byron in battle. And I gotta say, thanks to some unintentional advanced techniques, the movement and battle system actually had a lot of depth to it. He played Asheron's Call throughout middle school and high school, his adolescence being shaped by the game in many ways.
Even if yellow, switching like a fella, I still fresco, I don't smoke weed on set. This shit's gonna give me the brain damage.
Actually, the rapping has nothing to do with the game, I just wanted to show that clip. By the time Asheron's Call began losing relevance, Byron was nearly a young adult. He was nerdy, he played guitar, he liked Elliott Smith, and he even had a girlfriend. Her name was Jenna. But all of this was only the beginning. Asheron's Call introduced him to MMOs, but nothing could compare him to the impact of what was coming next. In 2004, Blizzard would release the world record-breaking MMORPG World of Warcraft. And it would be the beginning of something incredible.
Peter, thank you for the 8 months. Reckful was actually angry when WoW came out because all his friends ditched Asheron's Call. He was hesitant to switch, right? I think he said he considered to kill himself. Not happened. Louder?
World of Warcraft.
Can I get a mod to comment on if the volume's good or not? Because people keep saying
took the popular Warcraft series and made it into a gigantic, explorable RPG game, filled with quests and raids and players from around the world. There was so much to do, so many areas to discover, so much content to enjoy, and Byron absolutely didn't really care for it. When he first played the game, Byron quit after reaching level 30 because he just couldn't bring himself to complete the quests. In fact, he wouldn't get back into it until around 3 years later when a friend from Asheron's Call would essentially donate an account to him. The account was a rogue named Reckful. But it wasn't so that he could play the campaign. What held Byron's interest was the additional player versus player mode known as Arena. See, Arena is a competitive team versus team game that takes place in an arena. The goal is to defeat all of the players on the opposing team while simultaneously protecting your own teammates. This gets increasingly difficult as you advance in the rating system and get matched with better players. It can be played in the 2v2, 3v3, or 5v5 format, though the main competitive choice is 3v3. Usually, a team composition would include 2 people playing as DPSs, or damage-based classes and specialties, and the third playing as the healer, who supports the team and keeps them alive. So for example, a common strategy would be to crowd control the healer using abilities like stun or disorient, which prevents the target from acting for a short period of time. This creates a window of opportunity to focus on one of the enemy DPSs and take them out while they can't be healed. But of course, this is just one type of strategy and an oversimplification of how Arena plays out. In reality, it demands quick decision making, a deep understanding of how players will act, effective communication, and chemistry between teammates. When Reckful started playing Arena, and pretty much throughout the entirety of his career, he played as a rogue, which meant that the teams he played on were mostly composed of rogue, lock, shaman, and rogue, mage, priest. Reckful's playstyle on rogue was unique in that it focused on controlling his opponents in creative and often flashy ways, and he was pretty much instantly good at Arena. In his very first season playing, he got rank 1. And as time went on, he would earn multiple rank 1 titles and become the first player ever to earn a rating of 3,000. That was an enormous feat to accomplish, and for someone to do it so quickly was pretty much unheard of. It helped build up his name in the community, and the other top-ranked PvP players quickly took notice. There used to be this popular WoW blog known as World of Ming, and during the 2008 to 2009 period, they began making posts about Reckful, dubbing him the Golden Child. Those posts just happened to get the attention of 2 players named Benruki and Soda, who were competitive Arena players for the team Complexity Red. Their team needed a new rogue player, and since World of Ming was singing Reckful's praises, they decided to give him a try. Impressed with what they saw, they offered him a position, and just like that, Byron became the newest member of the team Complexity Red, marking the beginning of his career in esports.
Dun, dun, dun.
No way, absolutely no way.
Let's go ahead and listen in on Complexity Red.
With Complexity Gaming, Reckful got to compete around America at multiple MLG tournaments. At their first event, the team finished in 3rd place, and what's more impressive is that they defeated every single other team that had a rogue player on it. Between 2009 and 2011, they managed to achieve multiple top 3 placings at these events, including a 1st place finish at the 2010 MLG Pro Circuit in DC. And for many people, these events were their first chance to see what Byron was like in person, whether that be through attending the events or through tournament coverage that would get posted onto YouTube. But see, back then, the esports industry was not quite what it is today. It was a lot more common for players to financially get the short end of the stick. During his time with Complexity, Reckful earned a whopping salary of $0 from the team. And as part of their contract, they also made sure that Byron was not allowed to post his own WoW videos onto YouTube. Instead, Complexity Gaming would post them on his behalf. And that turned out to be a pretty sweet deal for the organization because in 2010, Byron made his first compilation video, Reckful 1 Shadow Dance, and it went on to become one of the most viewed World of Warcraft videos of all time. The video single-handedly rocket launched Reckful into mainstream World of Warcraft fame. His follow-up videos, Reckful 2 and Reckful 3, which were released in 2010 and 2011 respectively, only served to further increase his already growing online presence. But to Reckful, what mattered most was the competition. You have to keep in mind that WoW Arena tournaments were not exactly a frequent occurrence back then. It's not like Counter-Strike or Halo or fighting games where each year was full of so many opportunities to prove yourself. Reckful only got to compete on the big stage a handful of times in the years that he was active, so each opportunity mattered that much more to him. And for anyone that was serious about competing in World of Warcraft, there was no higher honor than winning BlizzCon.
It's the WoW players' version of the Super Bowl. It is the biggest event. It is the highest paying event.
He got a custom interview with Asmund. That's kind of cool. See, it's a Discord call.
Which is still a very low paying event, but it is the highest paying event for World of Warcraft all year. You know, you have these arena players, and I think this is the same with PvP in any game, but WoW, I think, does have its own little unique brand and, you know, version of people that are competitive on a level that I think might be higher than a number of other games, because not only are they invested in a game that they've probably played for 10 years, this is something that very few games can say they have, aside from something like Counter-Strike or something similar to that. But to some degree, I think that a lot of people, and I believe Reckful was probably included in this, have an emotional attachment to their character. Like, they really care about their character. So winning that is like, it's the pinnacle. It's the apex accomplishment of a WoW PvPer. Winning BlizzCon is, as I said, it's like winning the Super Bowl for a WoW player.
In order to get invited to BlizzCon, one's team needs to earn a top 8 spot in a server known as the Arena Tournament Realm. That qualifies them for a regional invitational tournament where the top 2 placing teams there go to BlizzCon. It should come as no surprise that in the Arena Tournament realm, Reckful and his team had earned the #1 spot that season. But for one reason or another, Reckful's teammates couldn't attend the regional, which meant that if he wanted to attend BlizzCon, he would have to create a new team with new teammates and once again make top 8 in the server to qualify for regionals. Doing this meant that he had to forfeit his rank 1 title, which was a big deal, but in exchange he would get a chance to qualify
that I've watched
for
even an
BlizzCon
episode
and
where
win
young
the whole
Reckful looks
thing.
like Dan
He
from
finds good
Gossip Girl with
teammates,
long
and
hair,
together
and I'm
they
sexually
do
confused
manage
by
to
it.
qualify for the regional, the North American Battle.net Invitational of 2011. If they can make top 2 at this tournament, they will be invited
Haven't
to
watched.
compete at BlizzCon. First up, Reckful's team faces off against a team known as Special Tactics, and right
Special
off the bat,
Tactics.
they lose. But the tournament rule set was double elimination, so if they can just make it to grand finals, they can still secure a top 2 position. They press on through the losers bracket and eventually make their way to losers semifinals, where they would once again come face to face with Special Tactics, the team that beat them in round 1. And their rematch would live on in infamy. Special Tactics' strategy at this tournament was to abuse a rule that allows teams to win based on total damage output. This rule usually didn't exist at tournaments, but Blizzard made an adjustment to the rule set specifically for BlizzCon. So while the other teams were focused on eliminating players, Special Tactics was trying to run the clock and win based on total damage output. Right as each game started, their team would immediately create distance and try to keep that distance for the next 25 minutes. And Reckful was particularly upset by this strategy. To get to this moment, he forfeited his rank 1 title and entered the regional with people he never usually played with, just so he could have a chance to win BlizzCon. But now, standing in his way was a team that had already beaten him once in bracket and was using a cheesy and frustrating strategy to win. Their match begins. 2 long games go by, each team claiming a victory, putting the score at 1-1. Every battle is slow and grueling. Game 3 starts and the mixture of emotion, adrenaline, and frustration becomes evident across Byron's face. Finally, after so much defensive play, an opportunity arises for Reckful's team to kill the enemy healer. And as all this happens, he erupts into a furious, triumphant scream.
Look at Disney taking a ton of damage right there. Maybe this is their new strat that they're going to work with. He drops that totem, but he would have kicked on healing surge. There's a crowded grip. Oh, he did it. Wow, no grip peel from Reckful. Alex trying his best to peel, but the team of complexity really coming out strong here on Dizzy. And Dizzy going down to 15k, absolutely nothing left. Calling, please kill him. Goes into Ghost Wolf, into a stun, out of it. There's that late trinket, but still goes down.
Turn all day, idiot.
He yells insults at them, berating special tactics for using such an annoying strategy. It was, without a doubt, a poor display of sportsmanship from Reckful. But it was also an incredibly exciting moment for both his team and those spectating. That liberating feeling of overcoming an obstacle, putting Reckful one win away from being invited to BlizzCon. He was almost there, but not everything can be in your control. See, the top-seeded team at that tournament was Evil Geniuses, and they were led by Byron's friend, Talbadar. Of all the teams present that day, this was the one team that Reckful knew he couldn't beat because their team was a counter to his team. But since he was in the losers bracket, as long as Evil Geniuses continued to win, Byron's team still had a good shot of making top 2. Unless, of course, an underdog team manages to beat Evil Geniuses. As fate would have it, that's exactly what happened, and Byron would have to face the one team in bracket that he had no chance against. As expected, they lost, falling one win short of being invited to BlizzCon. It was a shattering defeat. It was heartbreaking, and it truly left an impact on Byron that would not easily be forgotten.
But some how they beat Talbadar, Azale, and Sidu. I don't know how the Talbot, Azale, and Sidu lost that first time. It pissed me off. And then I had to play against Talbadar, the one team I couldn't beat, in the whole tournament, and I just have to get top 2. And then, of course, I lose, and then I'm knocked out. Aww. And I don't get to go to BlizzCon, which is all I wanted to do, and this is at my absolute peak when I'm really good. I actually remember, like, I had this really sad face on when I had to, like, Azale comes and, like, shakes my hand, and Sidu, and, like, they're all smiling, and I'm just like, I'm like this.
Aww.
It was really sad. I wanted to win it so bad.
You're a winner in my eyes, Byron.
I didn't even know I had emotions to this. That's crazy.
After being dealt such a crushing defeat, at the age of 22, Reckful retired from competing in World of Warcraft. The next few months of Byron's life were spent playing poker and editing his father's book, Reckful's Run, a story about an Israeli fighter pilot who may or may not have been named after Byron's gamertag. It was sad to see him retire, but every cloud has its silver lining. In June of 2012, Reckful decided to start streaming on Twitch, and when he did, he was welcomed to an audience of thousands. Something to keep in mind is that these were the very early days of streaming. Just having 1,000 live viewers was all.
Look at old Twitch. Woo. It's crazy.
Already a huge deal, but Reckful was pulling in multiple thousands of viewers. Naturally, playing WoW Arena made up the bulk of what he would stream. He still enjoyed the game, even though he was done competing with it. And it was simply an undeniable fact that people wanted to watch Reckful. Being on stream gave them an opportunity to see who he really was. And what they got was a guy who clearly loved to play and think about WoW. He was always laughing and having a good time on stream, and it was obvious that he was a pretty smart guy. The way he would explain his thought processes about the game or just life in general revealed a very logical approach to everything. But most notable of all is that Byron was always open book with his viewers about everything. He simply shared what was on his mind with little to no hesitation. By doing this, he allowed his viewers to feel closer to him and understand who he
Is that Jackie? Who is that?
He really is. And it turned out that Reckful was this mixture of a wise teacher and a totally goofy idiot.
How's the longest time
On stream, you would frequently see him telling the chat a story from his life, or opening up his trusty notepad application to illustrate.
Yeah, isn't this, sorry, but isn't that like a big reason why Andy Milonakis got involved in Twitch? Is because Reckful listened to his song, loved it, played it a bunch on stream, and then Andy like reached out to him or some shit?
Some kind of deep concept. He introduced his viewers to many aspects of his life, and of course, it was through streaming that the world was first properly introduced to his girlfriend, Jenna. Jenna had been by his side since high school, supporting him as he plunged into a new world of competitive gaming and streaming, and now she was making her global debut on Byron's stream. She instantly became a fan favorite, and even though it was less obvious to his fans at the time, her presence really helped bring stability into Byron's life.
Uh-oh. I thought he said they made each other sad.
Reckful was without a doubt an innovative player in World of Warcraft, but I think just as many would agree today that he was also one of the most innovative streamers on Twitch. See, in 2012 you could only make money on Twitch through subscriptions, but Byron had a better idea. He famously realized that he could just link his PayPal and ask for fan donations, and in exchange he would display the donator's message on the stream for a few seconds. Sound familiar? That's because almost every streamer on any platform today does this, but Reckful was the one that popularized it. And of course that eventually turned into streamers receiving crazy big donations.
$10,000.
I'm high.
You.
$10,000.
You.
At one point, he was making over $30,000 a month from streaming.
That's where you guys got it from. It's not me. You mixed me up with Reckful.
Which was a huge deal at the time. And he was smart with his money too, choosing to invest it into the stock market and further his profits. In fact, one of the first companies that he invested in was none other than Tesla. Back then, it was pretty common for his streams to feature other notable players from the WoW community. His closest friends like Talbadar Soda and Venruki would be regulars on the stream. And of course, some of the most entertaining moments from that time came from his friendship with Mitch Jones.
Try.
5'9", target quiet warlock.
As live streaming continued to grow in popularity, Reckful and his friends were all beginning to become popular content creators, and with the help of an organization known as SkillCapped, they were all able to move in together into a massive house in Austin, Texas. It was a significant moment in Byron's career because it demonstrated that he could actually make a living by streaming World of Warcraft, and that's because people loved the game, and its player base was massive. Even the company paying for the house only existed because of World of Warcraft. But he was also able to make a living this way because people loved to watch Byron.
Look at young
his
NMP.
gameplay and his personality and his content. They were all reasons for his success. But moving to Austin came with a price, because it meant that his girlfriend Jenna couldn't come with him. But regardless,
Everyone wants me to go back. How do you go back to like just 10 seconds? It's a button, key button, right? Sorry for the pause. A lot of people say me. Jay?
They were all World of Warcraft, into a massive house in Austin, Texas. It was a significant moment in Byron's career because it demonstrated that he could actually make a living by streaming World of Warcraft. And that's because people loved the game, and its player base was massive. Even the company paying for the house only existed because of World of Warcraft. But he was also able to make a living this way because people loved to watch Byron. His gameplay and his personality and his content, they were all reasons for his success. But moving to Austin came with a price, because it meant that his girlfriend Jenna couldn't come with him. But regardless, it was one of the most fun periods in Byron's career, and it's an era that many longtime viewers look back on fondly.
It's not a single emote. Oh, there's one.
Jenna, I have a question.
Uh-oh.
What is that?
In 2 years, when I'm finished with here and with that book I have to write,
Oh no.
and you're finished with school,
Yes.
will you marry me?
Oh my god. Duh.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yes.
For sure you'll marry me?
Yes.
No. That was easy. Sounded harder
this is
than
sad to see
movies
now
and
when you
stuff.
know how it ends.
Practically married already.
After a little over a year of streaming World of Warcraft, things on Byron's stream got a little shake-up when he started playing a new game. In late 2013, Blizzard released the beta for their new game called Hearthstone, and it fit Reckful perfectly. Having spent the vast majority of his years playing WoW and Asheron's Call, Byron was exceptionally skilled with the keyboard, but not so much with a mouse. So any game that required a great degree of mechanical skill with the mouse, like a shooter for example, automatically put him at a great disadvantage. But a card game where every action is strategic and the crux of the game is more about brain power than speed, well, that fit Byron perfectly. The game itself was simple. Both players start with 30 health, and they can use the various cards they pick up from their deck to inflict damage onto the opposing player or onto one of the opposing player's cards. And each turn, the player has a limited amount of energy that can be spent. The game quickly became one of the main attractions of his stream,
I'm waiting
and
for
he would
level
often
plus
play
four.
Hearthstone more than he would play World of Warcraft. His popularity on Twitch and his fame among the Warcraft community came with some perks, because in November of 2013, he was one of 8 players invited by Blizzard themselves to compete at the Hearthstone Innkeepers Invitational Tournament at BlizzCon. Yeah, that's right. 2 years after failing to make it into BlizzCon, Reckful was now finally attending, but as a Hearthstone player. It may not have been for World of Warcraft like he originally wanted, but this was a shot for Byron to redeem himself. Another chance for him to finally win BlizzCon, even if it was for a completely different game. And he didn't know it yet, but his performance at this tournament would be one for the ages. His first match was up against Day9, a notable player from the StarCraft community. They go back and forth for the first 2 games, but then after that, Reckful dominates the remainder of their set. He advances to the next round where he would play against Krippardian, a player who was at the time mostly known for World of Warcraft and Diablo 3, but would eventually become one of the most popular Hearthstone streamers on Twitch. It was game 1 best of 5. Byron with his early Freeze Mage deck has explosive power but a weak defense. Things were looking pretty bad for Byron, but then suddenly there was an opportunity. See, his opponent Krippardian had 14 health left, and Reckful, in his hand, had the cards Pyroblast and Frostbite, which deal a combined total of 15 damage. So in other words, by playing those 2 cards, he could have won the game. He fails to notice that he has lethal damage in his hand. Instead, he does this.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's Frostbolt. We have Pyroblast up there as well. He throws out the Cold Light Oracle.
The thing is, he can afford to. He's got 2 Ice Blocks in his hand. He doesn't have to do anything right now. He's going to play a second Cold Light Oracle. He's actually going to flood his opponent's hand to maximum right there.
And then goes on to lose the game.
And that's not going to be enough. GG!
And Krippardian takes game number 1 here in our second semifinal of the BlizzCon 2013 Innkeepers Invitational.
And then the whole set, getting knocked out of the tournament by Krippardian. All because of this really stupid mistake. Byron not only fails to redeem himself, but also embarrasses himself in front of everybody. In fact, he was so embarrassed and ashamed that he stopped streaming for months. Now, that would have been bad enough on its own, but because he was a Twitch streamer, the unavoidable happened. It became a meme. Well, you get the idea. People were memeing on him hard. Okay, just a little more.
33, so each fire is 11. 11 plus 4 equals... It's Pyro... Come on!
There are worse things to be memed over.
Realistically, the mistake itself could have happened to anyone. Even the commentators said nothing at the time. But regardless, missing lethal has since become a staple joke in Reckful's community. A few months later, in the summer of 2014, Byron moved out of the skill-capped gaming house and into a new house with Talbadar and Soda. And for many, this would feel like the end of an era. And in many ways, it would be. Because as he entered the next phase of his career, for the first time since it all began, things would start to take a turn for the worse.
Oh, Zombie Chow hits him for 5.
Yeah.
This is around the time I enter.
So wasted. I'm actually drunk, guys. God damn it. That game was bullshit. That was BlizzCon all over again. It's very sad for everyone. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's fine. We'll play another one. Delete that from your memory.
Nimru and Reckful.
Oh,
loathe them.
She doesn't even want to sit on us anymore because we...
It's not blue, it's...
Oh, damn.
Morber.
Oh, damn.
Just imagine tuning into Byron's stream and seeing him being super touchy-feely with a girl that's very much not Jenna. From the clip, it seems like she doesn't want to be seen this way on camera either. She continuously tries to keep her face hidden from the stream. And then of course there's that last bit where she goes, Her name is Morber, please, or Michelle, and this wouldn't be the only time that her and Byron appeared together on stream doing stuff like this. At that point in time, Jenna was still in school and quote-unquote engaged to Byron. The two of them had previously agreed to have an open relationship so long as she got to approve anyone that he got together with. And that was the justification that he used when his fans questioned his behavior on stream. And yeah, he was absolutely justified since she said she was okay with them being together. But to put it on display like that for everyone to see, well, it just made a chunk of his fan base question the kind of person that Reckful really was. But if there was something you couldn't question, it was how Byron was spending his money. During his brief hiatus from earlier in the year, Byron was earning huge on investments. What started as profit from streaming and getting paid to boost other people's WoW accounts was slowly becoming hundreds of thousands of dollars. By October 2014, he was already making so much money that losing over $100,000 on a company going bankrupt hardly even fazed him. And though his time away from Twitch came at the cost of being the #1 Hearthstone streamer, he was still regularly one of the biggest channels in the
Masan with the 16K.
Plus, he would still regularly play World of Warcraft as well. Or at least, he did until something went terribly wrong. See, one of his viewers offered Byron the opportunity to play Arena on his fully leveled Paladin account. Having never had the chance to play as that class before, Byron was all in. However, this got the attention of Blizzard, and they did not take to it favorably.
Blizzard.
They recognized it as a breach of their terms of service, and as a punishment, they permanently banned Reckful from World of Warcraft completely. Oh, and they did this on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, Byron.
Well, he's Jewish, so.
Byron was suddenly barred from playing the game that he loved and that held so much significance in his life. Blizzard's reaction to all of this seemed unfair. They claimed he was trying to boost the rating of an account that wasn't his, but that clearly wasn't the case. However, on the flip side, he had been quietly boosting people's WoW accounts while off stream for quite some time now. So in some ways, he was well overdue for a suspension of some kind. But a permanent ban? Not even the player who lent him the account that day received a permanent ban.
I think he said this was his most liked and retweeted tweet for a really long time, right?
And it was unfortunate to say the least, especially for someone who had put so much time into that game and who contributed to its community and viewership with his streams and videos. People were upset when this happened, and to this day his fans want him unbanned. In fact, even as recently as 2019, content creators getting banned from their respective games has been a point of controversy. So yeah, things had been going in a slightly negative direction.
Then that guy legit
Byron
hacked
didn't
the
know
game?
was that this was only the beginning of troubling times for him. And the thing about this period in his life is that all the ways in which things got worse for him were always self-inflicted.
Please pause. Do a lot of you guys need a pee
A
break
few
or
weeks
some
after he got banned from WoW, Reckful went to PAX South, a gaming convention in Texas. While there, he hopped on an H1Z1 setup built for streamers. He mostly just played the game and chilled with people from the convention during his stream. At some point, however, his chat spotted a girl in a Link cosplay, and immediately encouraged him to bring her on stream. So he did. And that would be the first time that Byron met Blue. The moment that she played the ocarina for him, Byron was in love. Or at least what he interpreted as love. She stayed and talked for a little while, and they did a playful kiss or two, and then she left. The stream goes on, Byron kisses a few more people for some reason, plays a little more H1Z1, and then, just as he was wrapping up, Blue comes back. They talk a little bit more, and then shortly after, this happens.
Alright, Link. Okay, I'll see you after.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Wow.
Oh,
Byron kisses her again, but This time it was much more intimate. This time it felt serious. The stream ends and Byron spends the evening hanging out with Blue. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how does this make his life worse? Why is this any of our business? Well, the simple answer is, because Byron chose to make this a part of his public life, it became everyone's business. And it would force him to deal with the consequences of making it everyone's business. From the perspective of his viewers, it made him look terrible. This time, he was definitely cheating on his girlfriend of 9 years in front of thousands of people, and he doesn't appear to be all too remorseful about it either. And in terms of his relationship with Jenna, this was the straw that broke the camel's back. It caused many of his fans to completely lose their respect for him, and some even stopped watching entirely. Of course, what they didn't know was that Byron had been growing unhappy with his long-distance relationship for quite some time. In his eyes, the breakup was inevitable, and he just simply didn't know how to go about ending it. However, his viewers didn't know any of that, and they were appalled by his actions. And to make matters worse, in what is probably one of the worst moves I've ever seen from anyone on Twitch, Byron has a post-breakup phone call with Jenna on stream, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that
I actually never, this whole thing is on YouTube, I think. I never actually watched it because I...
Together in the summer. I had my heart set on that. I was told that multiple times. I was told multiple times that you were done with all the girls. You were done with all the bullshit. You were ready to do this with me. And then I had to find out through Twitch that you're dating some girl that you met 2 weeks ago. And the worst part is that you didn't even have the decency to tell me. And regardless of if you hooked up with her or not, you were still had intentions. There were intentions there. You posted pictures.
I told you, we had been kissing and stuff, but we hadn't had...
You put a picture up of you kissing her and said, love Jenna, but love this GIF. How do you think that makes me feel? I'm away at school, getting an education, thinking that I'm going to come live with my boyfriend in the summer, and you're off gallivanting around with other women. Well, I'm waiting here for you. How do you think that fucking makes me feel?
Okay.
You fucked me over. You fucked me over, and you don't even fucking realize it.
I haven't lied to you in this whole thing going on. I haven't lied to you. You admitted that, right? Okay. Didn't lie to you. Anytime you asked something, I said the truth. You asked if we had hooked up. I said yes. You just read it out loud. Okay.
Yes, and then why say it's been a long time since I've seen you? I'll see you soon.
I'm so uncomfortable.
Everything will be okay. This was March 8th. Everything will be okay, you told me.
Hell yeah.
And I don't want to give up on you because I've supported you for 9 years in all of this.
Okay, well, anyway, I hadn't. Maybe at that moment I must have not decided.
Curious Frog, you'll find out. I think.
Days later, I did, right?
You just said, "I'm bored with you now. I found someone else."
Hell yeah.
That was literally.
I mean, that's really mean, but that's me telling you, right?
A nice fucking way to say to somebody, your girl of 9 years, to say, "I'm just bored of you. I don't want to be with you anymore." That's a really great way to tell somebody that you don't like them anymore.
Jenna, I'm trying to do whatever I can do to make it. I'm trying to do whatever I can do to make it better. I got you a plane ticket here so we could actually see each other face to face. There is no way to break up with somebody you've been with for 9 years and not seem like you're fucked
Okay,
up.
I don't know why the guy who made this video makes this drag on for so long.
She loves me. She's gonna be sad. No matter how the fuck I do it, I can't. There's no way to break up with you and you not be sad. What am I gonna do? I could fly you here and I could hug you at the airport and you could cry that and while you're leaving, you're gonna be sad as fuck. I could talk to you on the phone for 6 hours. You're sad as fuck. No matter what I do, you think I'm lying about some shit. I'm not lying about anything I told you.
That's not.
I mean, you admitted it. Okay, what?
I don't know what else to say. You've hurt me in more ways than I can.
I'm not Reckful, chat.
I literally am so fucked up from this, from your behavior.
Yeah, no matter what, no matter how I did it, though, you would have been fucked up. It's not like there's no magical way that unless I.
Yes, I would have been fucked up, but I would have been way less fucked up and had a lot more fucking respect for you as a human being. You've straight up lied to me over and over again that I don't even know what to believe anymore.
That's just not true.
Why is there a guy randomly saying John Madden in the chat?
Hell
this guy's saying get a haircut.
Yeah.
I did not
but
lie
also,
to you. Point out one single situation where I lied to you. Here, let's pretend it's a court of law. Point out one fucking situation I lied to you one time.
I'm not letting you manipulate me right now.
Point something out.
I'm sick of the manipulation.
Grab your text messages. Do whatever the fuck you want. Point out one time I lied to you in the last year.
I'm
Do it.
not dealing
Not
with
a fucking
manipulation
liar.
right now.
I'd love
I'm
to see you
leaving.
do it.
Hell yeah.
Great,
Okay,
because you
bye.
can't
I'm
do it.
done with the
Because you can't do it. Because you... Okay. There's not much that I can say that this clip doesn't already say for me. This was Reckful at his worst, and it turned a lot of people against him. And who could blame them? I mean, what a jerk. But there was also another byproduct of these events. Because Reckful's viewers cared about Jenna, they almost immediately hated Blue. In their eyes, she was essentially a homewrecker, and they were very vocal about their disdain. And since Byron had begun dating her, his fan base was quick to let her know that they didn't like her. And here's the reason that this is such a big negative for Byron. Byron hated the drama. In fact, Byron hates drama in general, but now he was surrounded by it. And it was a direct result of his own actions. He poisoned his own environment. That is how his life got worse. The stress and anxiety of his personal life challenges becoming so public was increasingly overwhelming. Unfortunately for Byron, the drama that had begun surrounding his life would later become inescapable. But for now, he would do what he could to find relief. And so, once again, he took a break from streaming.
Chilling. Why is he touching his cock? Dude, swallowing water in the
After
dead
his
seems to be
hiatus,
awful.
Byron was refreshed and ready to start streaming again. Given everything that happened earlier that year, Byron was looking to avoid getting into any more controversies.
Old Bob Ross.
But you know, he just really seemed to have a knack for it. And so it wasn't long before he landed himself in some hot water due to his unprofessional behavior while commentating an online Hearthstone tournament.
I remember that.
So now Swipe gets less sick. If that knife didn't hit though, he would go face and get by Swipe. And it would full clear. Whoa. What's going on? I didn't see that. I was playing Final Fantasy VII. That's interesting.
Like if you play Knife Juggler,
Knife Juggler abusive, and you would actually attack the keeper. Oh, sorry. Screw it.
Everyone will play every other team at least once, or just once. I think that's the guaranteed round robin play. Okay. Well, Reckful's kind of preoccupied, I guess, right now answering.
Oh, sorry. I was asking something about.
No worries,
what we're
bro.
doing.
I got you. I was like tossing it to you a little bit.
The sheer frequency at which Reckful was becoming attached to Twitch drama and general controversy started to have this secondary effect, where people just assumed that his channel was the place to be if they wanted to be at the center of the next big drama. So in other words, it attracted viewers that were there for the wrong reasons. And unfortunately for Byron, not only were they correct, but it made everything that happened to him get even more attention than it otherwise might have. And that only made it harder for him when Blue broke up with him that October.
The era of
Acting
drama.
out of hurt and frustration, Blue got vocal about her grievances with their relationship on Twitter, tagging Jenna in many of the tweets. For the people that already didn't like her, this was seen as justification to support their stance. But for Byron, this whole situation was miserable. He just wanted to stream video games and enjoy himself, but instead his personal life was constantly the subject of everybody's judgment. Perhaps that's just an unavoidable consequence of fame. Paparazzi culture would suggest that this type of thing is bound to happen, but I personally think it has more to do with Byron making his personal relationships a public spectacle. Though he prides himself on his authenticity and willingness to be open about his life, it came at the cost of having boundaries that are necessary for a healthy relationship. Now, at the time, he had been doing some variety streaming, but Hearthstone was still his main game. But he no longer dominated its section on Twitch like he once did. That title now belonged to a streamer named Masan.
Yeah, if I picked the Glyph, I would have just played it right off. I would not have kept it, just like I have.
Looks like Masan is just dominating the Twitch TV scene. 16,000 viewers.
Caramel dancing.
Masan's firing shots. How can he fire shots at me? I wonder what he says when he fires shots. What does he have to talk shit about? Damn, like, that guy doesn't view bot. He should show his ad revenue page. I'll show mine. Because the ad revenue page is just
if he doesn't run any ads, is just the ads from people actually coming in your stream, and it doesn't count view bots. So I'll show my ad revenue page on my stream, and he can show his, and he adds 3 times my viewers. So we'll see if that adds up. Okay. So yeah, I only have 600 subs. Okay, $2,500 in ad revenue. October. So you should have 7.5k in revenue, Reckful. I don't know exactly if he has 3 times more viewers than me, but he definitely has a lot more viewers than me.
No, before gifted subs and Twitch Primes were a thing, most streamers didn't have a lot. I remember Forsen had like, when Forsen put like 10, 15k viewers, I think he had 2,500 subs, which is what I have right now for reference.
All the time, right? So you should have a big number in there. He had 2.6k. See? There you go.
Look at 5k.
Watch, let me load up Twitch right now. Twitch TV directory all. Who's the #1 streamer on Twitch? Masan SC. You know, how can you not get some real viewers? So he ends up getting as many real viewers as, like, me. But most of them aren't real. I don't know. What if he actually doesn't know he has viewbots in his thing and someone's viewbotting him every day? That'd be interesting.
During this time period, viewbotting was a serious problem on Twitch, and publicly exposing a streamer for doing it addressed a greater issue on the platform. But it also said a lot about Byron as a person that he would even call out Masan like that in the first place. He doesn't like seeing someone get away with lying. In fact, he resents fakeness in all of its forms, especially streamers who lie to their audiences. That's one of the reasons he's so open and honest about everything in the first place, because he would rather be vulnerable and real than fake. However, it also shows that he's prideful and that it bothers him that Masan was unfairly beating him in viewership. Eventually, Byron confronted Masan while on stream, but he continued to deny any allegations. However, in spite of his denials, Masan was later permanently banned from Twitch for doing exactly what Reckful claimed. In terms of controversies, this was the first time in a while that Reckful was on the positive end, and things were finally getting back to how they used to be on his stream.
That's Jackie.
In fact, things on his stream were more
Wait, look, that's me right there, chat.
Fun than ever, because now his close friend and fellow streamer Mitch Jones was regularly appearing on stream together with Byron. The two of them had some of the most entertaining and genuinely funny streams of Byron's career. And Mitch was more than just a streamer friend to Byron. They were close friends that had known each other for years, and Mitch was someone that Byron knew he could trust. But Mitch was known for doing stupid and reckless things, often at Byron's expense. In early 2016, Byron and Blue were back on better terms, and out of great generosity, Byron bought her a brand new $30,000 car. Learning from his past mistakes, he chose to keep it hidden from the stream. The only people he told were the people in his personal life. You know, people like Talbadar, Toes, Mitch Jones. You probably see where I'm going with this, but just wait until you see how Mitch Jones exposes this to Byron's viewers.
Selling shirts every night, we do it real nice. I sold like 500 for my blues dice. I got Blue a car, she going out to Cali. She said, this shit, bitch. I don't know what has happened. Thank you for your hella money. I'll put it in the bank and then I'll go and your honey. Suck you, bitch. I can't rap over this.
Alright, everyone stop laughing at me, yo.
Oh, shit.
Why are they laughing at you? Look, man. Look at the chat, though.
Oh, my bad, though. I don't know what I said.
Oh, shit.
That's right. Mitch Jones accidentally freestyle rapped that Reckful bought a car for
Fucking
Blue.
thumbnail.
That is hilarious. The reaction from his chat was exactly what you would expect it to be. Now, Byron understood that it was probably an accident and ultimately didn't get too mad at Mitch.
I'm pretty sure I was in the house at this point. I remember he was getting non-stop donations. He must have made 30k back that very stream from the amount of donations of people just mocking him.
But the thing about Mitch is that he does stupid and reckless things. And so thanks to his lack of discretion, Byron was once again the center of Twitch drama. And of course, every single time that he streamed after that, or every single time that Blue was mentioned, the chat would just start spamming 30k over and over again.
I feel bad, dude. My bad, bro.
For Reckful, 2016 was a year that saw his channel evolve and expand into new audiences. And a big part of that was the release of Pokemon Go.
Yay!
When the game came out, it momentarily took over the world, and that was especially true on Twitch. It seemed like everybody wanted to see their favorite streamer play the game, and that, of course, included Reckful. And something to keep in mind is that even as recently as 2016, Twitch was a very different place than it is now. One of those major differences being the lack of a just chatting section. See, back then, you pretty much had to be streaming video games. There was even a requirement that the majority percentage of the stream be of gameplay. So
see, I streamed back here and I still got away with it. You know why? Because I streamed under creative, and everything I did was for the sake of finding samples for Radio Kappa. So if I watched a YouTube video, I just, you know, that would be creative.
Because of that, streams were pretty much confined to bedrooms or tournament venues and things like that. But Pokemon Go changed everything. Now, a streamer could be out on the street with their friends and having adventures in real life while still technically meeting the gameplay quota. This style of streaming would later become known as IRL streaming, which stands for in real life.
Thank you.
And as one of the first popular streamers to be broadcasting Pokemon Go, Reckful was managing to pull in audiences of over 50,000 concurrent viewers. He was literally on top of Twitch. And as these streams went on, it really felt like as a viewer, you were getting a chance to hang out with Byron and his friends. These streams also marked the first major returning appearance of Jenna. It might seem crazy to think that after everything, Jenna would want to be on stream with Byron again, especially after we've seen how terribly Byron could act. But I think that, if anything, it demonstrated how important he still was to her. Byron is far from a perfect person, but he had since shown remorse for how he handled things with Jenna. And I like to think that part of the reason that she was willing to spend time with him again was because she recognized his desire to be better. But back to Pokemon Go. The game was so popular that it helped put his stream out there to an entirely new audience, and it was a breath of fresh air to those who had grown tired of the same old sit-at-home routine. And that doesn't just apply to the viewers. Byron himself was thoroughly enjoying these streams and the opportunity to change things up. Now, as some of you might remember, Pokemon Go was a fleeting fad, which meant that these IRL streams could only last for so long. But when he was back at home, he was still keeping things fun and interesting. Like the time he won a $6,000 bet against his friend and owner of Tempo Storm, Reynad, by beating him in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Or how about the time Melee All-Star Mango got drunk with Reckful on stream?
I have a lot of juice here.
This guy's awesome.
So, I love this. This is my favorite one.
Don't do that right away. No!
It's too late, dude. Let's go. I killed this guy.
If you dropped this guy, he would have given you a fireball, bro.
Oh, no. Dude, look. They love that shit. They love it.
Drop this 6 seconds.
Oh, someone's a fuck? Yeah. Oh, let's go.
3-1, no! Shit, man.
Summon this guy, too, for no reason.
Byron was having some of the most fun times of his life in 2016, but of course, there was still one small problem. Mitch Jones. I've already pointed out how the watchful eye of Twitch chat has been problematic for Reckful's personal matters in the past, but what you need to understand is that for some Twitch streamers, it's how they stay relevant. See, a lot of Twitch viewers love to follow any kind of controversy. It happens on YouTube, it happens on Twitter, and it always gets attention. And Mitch Jones was the kind of streamer that often catered to those crowds. Naturally, since Reckful and Mitch were now living together, he would get sucked into the drama that Mitch created. Now, since Byron hated that type of thing, he had slowly gotten better at setting up boundaries for himself. Like, for example, when he was planning a trip to California to visit Blue. He told Mitch about it privately and specifically asked him to keep it a secret from his viewers to avoid drama. However, it just so happened that the day he was planning to visit Blue also happened to be Mitch's birthday. Mitch assured Byron that he didn't mind, but then came the actual day. Mitch, on his birthday, starts up his stream, and he's in Byron's room, something he knows Byron would usually be upset about. And he starts saying stuff like this.
It's my fucking birthday. I just turned 24. Wait, Byron's with you guys, right? Who's Byron? Who's he chilling with?
So keep in mind, this whole time I've told him where I'm going and who I'm with, and he said
he was gonna be fine on his birthday, and this is just all. I don't know what this is. This is all like I watch this and I'm like, what is going on, dude?
What is it? Okay, I mean, is he like with his parents or catching Pokemon or what's up? I mean, I don't actually. Dude, I literally woke up and the Jude was gone. That's all I know.
Well, he didn't tell you.
I mean, I was asleep all day because I've been pretty emo.
Here, gave you one last time.
I don't know, man. That really pissed me off. Every time I talk to him about it, he's like, "Dog, I was just being funny, you know." But I feel like there's being funny, and then there's being funny while making your friend look like a total asshole and not saying you were joking. You know, like what the fuck? I just want him, if he could fess up.
Go with like the name calling and stuff, guys.
That he like was actually being mean and sincerely, and he sounds like he really means it. Then that's something, you know.
Look at what Mitch is doing here. He's taking advantage of his friendship with Byron to be more relevant. Again. And now look at how Byron reacted to it. He couldn't understand why his friend would do that to him. Later, Mitch would claim that all of this was just a joke, but regardless, it was a clear breach of trust that affected their relationship.
Every time Mitch says, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that," if he could go back 5 seconds in time,
what a Chad,
and have the choice of not saying that or saying it again, he would always say it again.
I remember this. I'm pretty sure I saw this live, and this is really, really wrong with Byron. I remember this.
He casually mentioned Reckful buying a 30k car. That was intentionally. That was not unintentionally.
At this point, their relationship was on life support, and the plug was about to be pulled. See, Mitch had this girlfriend named Mira, and of course, she was also the starring role in her own fair share of Twitch drama. And Byron did not like her, to the point where he publicly beefed with her on stream, which of course put Mitch in a very awkward position. However, Byron was very understanding of their relationship, and he made sure that Mitch knew that he didn't want to get in the way of it. Despite this, the two of them would eventually break up anyways. Or so Mitch would tell Byron. Keep in mind that at this point, his friendship with Mitch was on very thin ice because Byron's trust in him had been broken. To make a long story short, Mitch tells Byron he's going to visit his father, but instead goes to meet up with Mira. By pure coincidence, their housemate Toes walks in on Mitch and Mira at a restaurant, and he's shocked to see her there because she was supposed to be living in a different state. Upon seeing them, Toes tells Byron via text message, and Mitch responds by flipping out and demanding that Toes drive home and delete the texts off of Byron's phone before he wakes up. Yeah. Byron, of course, learns of all this and realizes that there's no way he could ever trust Mitch again.
I think he wasn't really my friend the whole time. And I'll tell you guys why. Some people might think I'm just trying to stir up drama, but actually I'm just trying to get out of it. I don't want to be friends maybe with people from Twitch anymore. I thought we were just chilling, having a good time all the time, but I don't think he's really my friend. I thought he was the whole time. I thought he was Mitch Jones the whole time, but he really was David Jones, guys. He's just fucking David Jones. And he just pretends to be Mitch Jones on this fucking, in front of me and on his stream. Like, what the hell? It's so weird. I don't know, man. He just, I gave him a lot of times, even you guys probably saw, he was streaming one time, and I even told him, look, if you want to go live with Mira, it's fine. And at one time I even jokingly said, yo, we know, yo, Mira spilled it, that, you know, she's going to Maryland with you. I said that because I wanted him to try to just admit it to me. And then he was like, what? No way, that's not happening. I need to call her, that's crazy. I'm not even talking to her anymore, dog. Like, that's the one guy I thought was really my friend the whole time. I never doubted anything. He just seems so innocent. He just seems like, you know, he's just a guy who likes to fuck around, jump around, do whatever. Can't trust anybody, chat. I'm just gonna cut off ties with other streamers and stuff, I guess. I just want to be by myself and not deal with kind of shit like this and awkwardly not know if people are really a friend of mine or stuff like that. It makes me really uncomfortable. I just rather have friends around who aren't involved in Twitch in any way, you know.
This changed the way he viewed his friendships forever. Maybe all these people he thought cared about him were really just there to use him, for his money, for his fame. And it came with the difficulty of losing someone that he once believed cared about him. An experience like that can be extremely difficult for a person to recover from. Try and put yourself in his shoes. Imagine finding out that your best friend just likes you because they're using you. It hurts. But with his struggles came wisdom. Wisdom that allowed him to better distance himself from the chaos that had been surrounding his life for the last 2 years. And with that, the viewers that only cared about drama started to fade away. So, what does it look like when Reckful gets attention for something that isn't Twitch drama? Well, it looks a little something like this.
Apparently, there is a new way to meet and greet on
shit.
social media.
Users craving interaction are now actually watching people eat. It's called social eating,
CBS
a live
guy.
streaming platform on Twitch,
What's
which
the
was
movie
known for
tonight?
gaming until now.
This broccoli does not look tasty. Would you eat that?
The funny thing is that Reckful was never really a social eating streamer to begin with, but that didn't stop him from becoming the CBS broccoli guy. Now, it would be inaccurate for me to say that Byron's career was 100% drama-free after he parted ways with Mitch. Like, for example, there was the time that he got bitch slapped by Trainwrecks TV at BlizzCon 2016. I could go into more details about it, but honestly, I don't think it's really of that much importance. At the end of 2016, Twitch recognized the popularity of IRL streaming and decided to drop the gameplay quota and give the format a dedicated section on the website. And as 2017 began, this would become Byron's go-to style of streaming. These streams always felt like an adventure. Reckful would befriend strangers or take the day into unpredictable places.
My phone's at 11, we gotta get back to the boat. Operation Boat. Wait, maybe I'll just swim with my hands up. We can do this!
Oh my God.
Yes! I got you! Yes! You won't give way! Wow. I didn't think that was possible.
Fans would run into him in real life and become part of the stream, and viewers would watch with joy as they got to vicariously live through Byron's experiences. But what really took the IRL streams to the next level was when he started traveling around the world, and it all kicked off with Japan.
The pink wing, yeah. Oh my god, that was Kaihama.
One of the things that made these streams so incredible to watch was how he would begin to build a crew of friends that accompanied him throughout the trip. And the fact that it was all happening in Japan just made it so much more interesting.
I feel like we went away from the good area, huh?
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
What's his name again? It's awesome.
Luke. What's your name?
Luke.
That's your name in chat? Yeah. Have I talked to you before? Yeah. I have? Wait, spell it. Oh, yeah, I have not. Lethal. Lethal. Hi. Lethal? Fuck you! Yeah, I need a gum, mate. You speak perfect English. You cunts.
These streams really set the tone for the rest of the year, where he spent more time in the streets of various cities than he did playing any kind of video game. And it was pretty clear that this was exciting for him. It was a chance for him to creatively express himself in a way that playing games at home rarely allowed. Besides, what's more fun than meeting new people and doing karaoke in front of thousands of viewers? As a fan of Anthony Bourdain's travel shows, Byron attempted to bring that same sense of excitement, exoticism, and adventurous energy into his streams. But of course, this was still Reckful, so he would get himself into situations that Anthony Bourdain never would.
Ask the ladies behind you if you can eat their ass.
Hello. They're British. Can you stop?
Oh, they understand?
They understand. Oh my
God.
It's too loud. I have to leave.
That face she does.
Wait, you're leaving? No, I'm not done drinking.
They speak English, Reckful. They're British.
I didn't know. Wait, don't leave.
Still hurts.
She's leaving.
Still hurts to watch this.
At the very end of the year, he briefly visited Vegas and New York, but the streams there were mostly short-lived. And not long after that, Reckful would suddenly and completely disappear from Twitch for over a month. When he finally did re-emerge at the start of 2018, it was with the news that he was now dating Becca, the girl from that karaoke clip in Japan. She was and is also a Twitch streamer, and during their brief relationship, she would often make appearances on his stream. And unfortunately, that led to a moment very very reminiscent of Reckful's past.
Yeah.
But anyway, now that Twitch supported IRL streams and content that wasn't centered around gameplay, it allowed for Byron to get more experimental with his streaming format. This time it was with the addition of his new show, Tea Time with Byron, which was basically a long-form conversation between himself and a guest that took place on a fancy set. While this wasn't the most mind-blowing idea for a show, I feel it's worth mentioning because it speaks to who Byron is as a person. He likes to try new things and experiment with how he uses Twitch as a platform. Further down the line, he would experiment even more by running his own version of Shark Tank on his stream.
Okay, I'll make you an offer. How much of your company are you willing to part with?
If you guys do want a number,
pointing at
maybe
me.
25%, maybe.
Did you guys see that?
I want.
How'd I go back?
40. Your company are you willing to part with?
If you guys do want a number, maybe 25%, maybe.
I want 40% of your company for $10,000.
I think I could do that.
All right, it's a deal.
But his experimental mindset with Twitch became more evident than ever in the summer of 2018. When his friend Reynad showed him a new card game that he was developing, Byron loved it so much that he was prepared to contribute $200,000 towards it and help him design the game. However, they ended up disagreeing on how to tackle the project, and so Byron backed out. But the allure of creating a new game from scratch really stuck with Byron. And so in June of 2018, he reached out to his viewers through Twitter to see if they would be interested in helping him build a game. At that stage, what the game would be and how it would play was completely up in the air. But nonetheless, it was the start of something that has never been done before. Because the team that would be developing the game with Byron was entirely made up of people that watch his stream.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
You heard me correctly. Byron started developing a game with Twitch chat. For the remainder of 2018, Byron got back into doing travel streams, with his next trips being to Greece and Amsterdam. This time he was joined by Andy Milanakis and Greek God X.
Do you want to wrestle? Do you want to wrestle?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
I'll try. I mean, you're obviously going to be better. Okay, Mike, can you go
These
really
streams
soft
had a
with
lot
me?
of potential, this trip.
Okay, ready?
But it ended up falling apart real quick.
Okay.
Don't knock me off the bed.
Oh yeah! Control me! I just farted.
Get out of here. Oh my god! I screamed, I'm sorry, but that wasn't.
I farted like 8 times.
You farted 8 times?
Reckful got emo.
Over and over as I squeezed down in his chest, dude.
What happened? It wasn't just that. They also had shit internet. The internet was absolute trash.
This was so bad.
So they barely could stream.
I think that for many fans, these IRL streams that he started doing in 2017 and onward were some of the best streams that he ever had. And that's an amazing achievement because at this point he had been streaming for over 5 years, and where most streamers would have gotten stale, Reckful was in many ways better than ever. As the year wound down, Reckful began to stream less and less, until eventually he went radio silent. And things would stay that way for several months. It wouldn't be until the spring of 2019 that Reckful would finally go live again, where he was now often playing auto chess or later its Riot Games counterpart, Teamfight Tactics. In his short time playing the game, Byron managed to reach the highest possible rank of Challenger, which just goes to show that he was still a cut above your average gamer. But more importantly, it had now been a year since he had put together a team to start developing his game, and now he was ready to show it off. It was officially called Everland, and it was an MMO in the vein of Club Penguin. The version he demoed had beautiful Super Nintendo style sprite work and music made by Secret of Mana composer Hiroki Kikuta.
Dude, Twitch chat made this shit. It's crazy. Yeah, you'll have a profile, and also you'll be able to collect like shit for your
Do you guys see his tweet? He's releasing a test gameplay thingy by TwitchCon, right?
Furniture for
when
your house.
TwitchCon would have been.
Mounts. Your house can look as sweet as mine someday, you know? We're, you know, very forward thinking. There's no gender, it's just what clothes you're wearing.
Wow.
And some clothes have boobs. You know? Nobody could ever get mad.
No cock?
It's crazy. I kind of just took all the elements of things I liked and put it together. So, I like the Super Nintendo, like, Secret of Mana graphics.
The music
Even got the
so
composer
dope.
from Secret of Mana made the song, right? And then I like MMOs because I like just talking and hanging out in the world. I don't really like grinding
Isn't that
things.
stealing?
Though. So there's just gonna be like mini games you could get rated higher than other people or score higher than people, but not you don't have to like grind something over and over. And then housing I think is cool.
Yeah, I
yeah,
checked
there's
your
a
link
casino.
video.
You know, I used to have. It's just in-game money, but you know. There's poker. You can play poker against your friends within the game, so it's like an easy one-stop shop for doing whatever the fuck you want to do.
It was really cool to see him come full circle and start making a game of his own. Of all the ways that Reckful has innovated streaming and how he uses Twitch, this idea was probably the most amazing. How many streamers can say that they built a full game with the people from their chats? It was pretty much unheard of. He reached out to a community that he built by himself, and now together, they're helping him fulfill a dream that very few people ever get the opportunity to realize. That is the essence of what makes Reckful so unique and so much fun to follow. Being a part of his community really makes you feel like you're connecting with him and that you're a part of his journey. That's something that can only happen when you're as authentic and open to your community as Byron has always been. And that doesn't just apply to his viewers either. Most of the big streamers on Twitch are themselves fans of Reckful in some way. Just watch any of the happy birthday videos that were made to celebrate him.
We just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, bud.
Happy birthday, my Jewish friend.
Hi, Byron. Happy birthday.
Aw, these guys are great.
It has dawned on me that today is a very special day, that it is your birthday.
Yo, Byron, happy birthday, man. I miss you, bro.
Hey, Byron. Happy birthday. Enjoy yourself today. Treat yourself today. I love you and miss you.
Hey, Byron. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, buddy. I hope you have a great day.
Stop. This isn't right. There's something that I purposely didn't tell you. Some very serious things that are, in my
I was in that
opinion,
video.
crucial to the story of Reckful, of who he is and what he does. The first is that when Byron was just a kid, his oldest brother, Guy, took his own life. Suffering from depression, he chose to overdose on his prescription Prozac. I can't even begin to put into words how difficult this must have been for Byron and his family. To experience that kind of loss as a kid, it's traumatizing. It shattered the life he knew and it left his family fractured and incomplete. In his book, The Bone Box, Byron's father bravely describes this tormenting loss.
So some of this is fictional. I'll give a little bit of preface. No, I'll just go right into it. I tossed and turned in bed, but couldn't fall asleep, as every night since my personal tragedy happened in midsummer of that same year. My son had been suffering from a severe depression for several months, and I did sometimes fear the worst. So when my wife called me at work on that evening and said that his room was locked and he wouldn't respond to calling his name and knocking on the door, death immediately reared in my mind and my heart palpitated with a pang. I shouted, "My son is dead," and I started sobbing savagely and uncontrollably. My secretary drove me home. Someone climbed to the rear window of his room and broke it, then immediately screamed to call the paramedics. Judy ran to Guy's room, the secretary following on the steps. Judy came out of the room crying hysterically, her pain throbbing around me. The paramedics came and she re-entered the room with them, but they could only confirm Guy's death. I howled even more, but did not have the strength of mind to even think about entering Guy's room. I ran up and down, back and forth in the house. I stood up again, sat again, lay down on the floor and twisted in all forms and directions, but I could not escape the terrible situation. I screamed for my son and hoped that he would immediately come out of the room. I saw Judy breaking out from Guy's room, dashing past everyone in the corridor, ripping out her hair, and rushing to her bedroom, door slamming behind her, and I still twisted around in frenzy. This is not true. How do I get out of this nightmare, my mind raged? Where do I hide now for eternity? At nights I could not sleep, daydreaming deliriously about my son in conversation and activity with me. During the day I had to face all those annoying friends and colleagues who honestly, with good intentions, were torturing me with the meaningless words, all of them repeated endlessly, as if they had rehearsed together. You have your family to take care of, as well as your police work. Be strong. As if I needed to be told all this. Were not for these cursed obligations, I would emulate Guy's suicide and be immediately released from the pain. And anyway, how could I betray his memory by tending to things as meaningless and trivial as personal achievement, status, and career? The constant, unbearable, relentless pain weighing down on my chest like 100 tanks parked on it, and the need to perform work and other daily duties was now utterly meaningless. To watch people going places, coming back, talking and toiling for reasons that now completely escaped me. What is the meaning of all this hassle and tussle? I am dead, and these people continue their daily occupations, and I have to watch them and their utterly stupid ambitions and activities to get rich, to be powerful, to do this and that. What for? As life has already ended. And why is it that I'm dead and they're alive? And why is it they have sons to continue their existence after they're gone? And where's mine? While performing my duties as a lawyer, I would feel sad, enraged, empty-headed, and exalted, concurrently or alternatively. Why can't I also depart after Guy? Maybe I will find him somewhere. But when I call him back in my dreams, he only signals that it was time for him to go on with his passage and not for me. I have family, duties, and a city's population to protect here. The same population who couldn't honestly give a fuck about Guy's death. Can anyone understand the city's treatment of me? As the weeks and months passed, black horror settled in my mind. My own darkness engulfed, sucked, and suffocated me.
It's very well written.
Inescapable misery constantly bashing my heart, gashing wounds of unbearable pain. Memories of my son melted my brain like butter in boiling vapor, driving me insane. And the worst was the impossibility, the absolute impossibility to run away and to vanish and disappear. There was nowhere to hide, except if blessed sleep came to me some nights after many hours of twisting in my bed. No appetite for food, for sex, or achievement whatsoever. No ambition to make even the slightest advance. Only the burden in my chest getting heavier every day, and the nagging dread that in time I will forget Guy and desert him. And so I continued living like a zombie, grieving not only the loss of my son, but mainly the loss of my old securities, of the confident man I used to think I was, of how I imagined I could make life happen. Slowly I began realizing that I was separated from life, because my son was my life, and he would never return. I had lost my connection to the part of myself that I could not, without my son, satisfy, and I mourned that part of myself which my son had reflected. I mourned for me. This was the unfolding of the simple realization of why I felt dead among the living. I went to the kitchen, took a sleeping pill, sagged back inside my bedroom, and sank into a welcome dreamless sleep.
Watching Byron recount that is beyond heart-wrenching. What happened to his family is a tragedy that nobody should have to experience. But there's also another important thing that I didn't mention in this video. For Byron to lose his brother and have his family be suddenly incomplete like that led him down a path towards depression at a very young age. By the time he was a teenager, it became something that he battled with in constant cycles. And by the time he was 16 years old, Byron attempted to kill himself, managing to survive by nothing more than luck. Throughout pretty much his entire life, this battle with depression has been an ongoing struggle for Byron. He'd seen therapists but to no avail, and taking SSRIs, a type of antidepressant, was out of the question because of what happened with his older brother. So without an answer, he was left to endure that depression all on his own. And believe it or not, the reason he wanted to end his own life at 16 was simple. He was the best player in the world at Asheron's Call, but eventually, that game had to come to an end. That might sound like a crazy reason to do something so drastic, but getting good at that game endowed him with fulfillments. He was the great anti-parazzi. Without it, everything felt meaningless. There was nothing left to distract him from the negative thought patterns looping in his mind. This is something that Byron has been struggling with throughout his entire career. Think about all the times I've mentioned him taking a hiatus from his stream over the years. While it's true that he's done it for a variety of reasons, much of the time it was because he was too depressed to stream. The feelings of worthlessness and self-loathing left him living in his bed for months at a time, never bothering to stream because how could he entertain people while in such a state? In his mind, what was even the point? There have even been times where he deleted his Twitch channel or threatened to do so.
And if I don't want to get banned, I realize I don't want to get banned, but I'd prefer to get banned than to continue streaming, but I'd prefer to have my account deleted.
Understanding his past also sheds a different light on his broken friendships with people like Mitch Jones. Losing an older brother created a hole in his life, and it didn't help that he never got along well with his middle brother Gary. It's possible that, to some degree, he sought to fill that hole with the companionship of his friends. And at one point in time, Mitch Jones was one of his best friends. So perhaps the betrayal meant not only the loss of a good friend, but also a deep reminder of what he had lost as a child. But here's what's interesting about Byron. As you already know, he's a very genuine and authentic person. He wears his flaws on his sleeve and shows how imperfect he can be. From the very beginning of his streaming career, he's been open about his struggles with mental health. He's even mentioned his brother's passing and his own attempted suicide multiple times on stream. And I know for a fact that his willingness to share these struggles has meant so much to his viewers who also deal with similar afflictions. I really believe that he's helped many people get through tough times just by sharing this side of himself, showing his viewers that they aren't alone, that he too struggles with depression and emotional trauma, while simultaneously showing them that he's capable of achieving great things and finding moments of happiness. And I'd also like to point out how Byron being open in this way is very different from how he had been too open about his relationships in the past, where in those instances he was sharing aspects of his private relationships. Here Byron is only sharing his personal struggles that are unique to him. Nobody else is involved, it's just Byron opening up about these things that make him human, and doing it in a way that is actually helpful for his viewers. But
Redemption
it's not
arc, boys.
always easy to be a dedicated
happy
viewer of Byron's. Fans have had to watch as his battle with mental health seemed to wear on him more and more as the years have gone by. Wild mood swings that have gotten worse and bouts of depression that seem to take more and more out of him. With time, things got dim, but they say it's always darkest before dawn. And the rising sun that would shine upon Byron came in the form of a Harvard psychologist named Dr. Alok Kanogia. Together, in front of thousands of viewers, they took a deep dive into Byron's depression, which meant taking a deep dive into Byron's past. They examined why Byron does what he does and is who he is, how the trauma of his childhood had shaped the battles he would face with his own emotions, and most notably, he helped Byron realize why making his game Everland has been such a fulfilling venture for him.
And this is the other interesting thing, is you're finding purpose, and why are you finding purpose again? What do you like about what you're doing?
I like that I'm trying to give people something I wanted as a kid.
Who's the focus on? Who are you thinking about?
Joe. Sorry. I have a condition.
Just people haven't experienced what I did.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, Reckful. Listen carefully now. Your depression, you're trying to cure the depression that is growing within kids out there today. You're trying to protect them from what happened to you.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
That feels good.
Yeah.
Feels meaningful, yeah.
Good is an understatement. It's the understatement of the fucking year. It is vital. It is crucial. You must do this thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, yeah.
Like all of the qualities, when you're saying that you wanted to give people an experience that you didn't have as a kid, I don't think you're talking about playing a fucking video game. I think you're talking about being alone. I think you're talking about being abandoned. And you don't want people to feel the way that you felt. And so you're trying to make the world a better place.
Maybe.
What are you feeling right now?
I don't know. It's just happening automatically. I am.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking anything. I feel like in my body. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know. I feel like I just passed something.
Yeah.
And kind of hopeful, I guess.
Yeah.
For the future, maybe.
These conversations with Dr. K helped Byron start down a path to healing that he was never able to find before. And as 2020 began, for the first time in many, many years, Byron was actually beginning to be happy.
How you been, man?
Amazing. Really good. And I think it's pretty much thanks to you. I think everything started working out as soon as we started talking.
What about
It's not a coincidence. Just everything in my life is just working all the time. Feel very confident.
So now as this story comes to an end, it brings me back to the question that I opened this video with.
Huh?
Who is Reckful?
Oh shit. Did you guys take notes? Did you guys study? I told you there was a test at the end.
When people look at him, it's easy to see a lot of things. His reputation through Twitch or his infamy in World of Warcraft. Maybe some see him as entertaining, or maybe they see him as contentious. But when I look at Reckful, all I can see is Byron. This guy that is simply trying to live the best life that he can. And I can't help but find myself relating to him, the way he thinks or the way he looks at life. I even have a father whose books I've been editing since I was a teenager. But most importantly, I see someone who has accomplished great things in spite of his own suffering. He's had profound influence on the world, and he's created a legacy for himself across multiple communities. He overcame his obstacles by putting his first foot forward. That's what makes him so great. We all face hardships that can seem impossibly difficult to survive. So if there's one thing that we should take away from Reckful, it's to keep moving forward.
Wow, what a cool video, man. That was crazy. So thorough. 1 hour. Jesus. You think he's gonna make more? That was nuts. Big shout out to this guy, Slush. Go like subscribe and stuff to his channel. That was some of the most thorough stuff I've ever seen, so mad props to that guy. That was nuts. What a video. I didn't expect it to be that good. You can support him on Patreon too, guys. Skorai, Shokin RL, Legos96, Dumpy, Toasted Jam, hey, Mr. On Bacon and Warlord, thank you. Soyboy Donuts 3 and says, people calling him a Leech Jones, he had more viewers than Reckful when he moved in with him, the video's biased. I don't think the video called him a Leech, I think maybe chat did. I did ask to say that, like, less name calling and stuff. Your story coming up next. I feel like my story is nowhere close to as interesting as Reckful's. I don't think a video on me would be at all as... If there was one thing I kind of wish about this video, but I understand it makes for a more interesting thing, but I wish it would have focused a bit more on the positive stuff and a bit less on the drama. Though there was a big part that was drama, you know, but there was some more fun stuff in between all of that drama. There was like some... Not a single mention of Slawfather. No mention of Seat Story Cup. Too little focus on Spain streams, you know. That kind of stuff. He could have put some more fun stuff in there to weigh up some of the heavy drama. It's stuck around a bit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just that's the kind of like that's the path of storytelling he chose to take. Yeah, it was Anyway.